everyone. I'd like to call the Budget Committee meeting for Monday, March 10th, 5:30 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Nope, I know, that clock's changed, that's what I'm going by. I know this one's not changed yet. All right, roll call. Steve Merkel.
Here.
Samantha Hayes.
Here.
Jim Guttello.
Here.
Steve Hoyts.
Here.
Bob Karen's here. Colin Brackett, Zoom.
Via Zoom, here.
Thank you. Town staff is Patricia Crisco and Jason Rogers. Thank you for showing up. Entertain a motion to review the minutes stating March 5th, 2025, please.
Make a motion.
Motion made.
Second.
A second. Roll call vote. Colin Brackett.
Aye, via Zoom.
Thank you. Steve Merkel.
Aye.
Samantha Hayes.
Yep.
Jim Guttello.
Aye.
Steve Hoyt.
Yep.
Bob Karen. Good. Thank you. So we're going to do any old business before we get into this new business. Well, actually, it should be old business, more than new business. Going to do a quick presentation from Clara McCool from JP Cog first, and then we're going to do a little bit from...
Actually, in order to do this right, to follow Robert's Rules of Order, we have to vote to even reconsider this issue.
Well, we have to
Somebody
vote.
has to make a motion to reconsider the issue, there needs to be a second, then a vote, then we can open it up. Because if there's not enough votes to reconsider, then you can't
Well,
even
I thought it
discuss
was-
the issue.
And I thought there was not enough votes to rescind, because you need majority.
But you gotta reconsider it first.
Okay.
Well, you can only reconsider on the same day that the vote was made. Now we're in rescind mode.
Well, either way, you still gotta do a vote to open up the discussion.
Okay,
Yeah.
however you want to proceed, Mr. Chair.
Then I'll entertain a motion to open up the discussion back for Sebago Fiber that we had on March 5th, 2025.
Make a motion for that.
Okay, Samantha's a motion.
Second.
Steve is a second. Roll call vote. Colin Brackett.
No.
Steve Merkel.
Yes.
Samantha Hayes.
Yes.
Jim Guttello.
Yes.
Bob Karen's a no also. So it does pass 4-2, so we will reconsider it. So now I'm going to have
There you go.
Clara make a small presentation first about the procedure that went through, and then we'll listen to Andrew go next, please. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Clara McCool. I work with the Greater Portland Council of Governments, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the COLA process that has been happening over the past 4 years that I've sort of been a part of and led on the GPCOG side. So the Greater Portland Council of Governments, we're a regional planning agency with 25 dues-paying communities across Cumberland County. We basically help cities and towns do together what they can't do alone, so housing, economic development, broadband and digital access, transportation are some of the things that we focus on. Back in 2021, a few towns that I was working with on broadband infrastructure projects came together and decided that they wanted to create a regional effort so that they weren't sort of going at this alone. A lot of different communities were asking the same questions and having difficulties connecting with internet service providers and sort of making progress, and so they felt that as a group coming together they would have more power than going it alone. So thus was formed the Cumberland Oxford Lakes Area Broadband Committee. Initially this was 9 communities, some of which were in Oxford, but as we went through the process some sort of went in different directions, and then we ended up with the group we have now, which is Casco, Naples, Sebago, Standish, and Raymond. The goal of these communities was to identify and recommend a reliable, future-proof broadband solution for their communities. So in partnership with us, GPCOG, Mission Broadband, which is a broadband consultant that helped us with the RFP process, and we also applied for and received a grant from the Maine Connectivity Authority to do some planning work as a group. So in August 2022, about a year after the collab group was formed, the steering committee, which was made up of town managers and select board members from each of the communities, created a request for proposals on behalf of Casco, Naples, Raymond, Sebago, and Standish. So the goals for this, it was a performance-based RFP, looking for internet service providers across the country to submit ways in which they would provide broadband service to unserved areas, explore potential grant opportunities that were available within the state, improving broadband coverage to all community members, so not just those unserved, but there were also, through surveying that we did with the collab steering committee, there was feedback from town members who already had service that they were unsatisfied with the service that they were currently receiving. So improving broadband coverage for everyone. And then a couple of the communities were really looking to have dark fiber for their municipality. So that's fiber that connected the municipal buildings that the community themselves would own. So we had responses due September, and we received responses from Charter, which is Spectrum, GWI, Greater Works Internet, Sebago Fiber, Consolidated Communications, aka Fidium, and Surtex. Each internet service provider proposed a different pricing and business model. There was the private internet service provider with a municipal partner, which is the Sebago Fiber model that we'll talk about a little bit today, broadband utility district, and then a private build-out. So interviews and careful evaluation was done over several months to determine which model fit best. So the steering committee met with each internet service provider that responded. We also had a series of interviews with these internet service providers beforehand. So we had been meeting with them over the course of several years, but then after we had these RFP responses, we met with everyone who responded to the RFP to ask questions and then get their responses to those questions. At the end of that evaluation process, the communities and the steering committee voted to approve to recommend to their communities the private ISP with municipal partner model. And I'll talk a little bit more in a second about sort of the reasons that model was picked by the communities. But first I'm going to talk a little bit about the selection process. So the collab steering committee took over 9 months to review the RFP results and interview each internet service provider. The model of private ISP municipal partner was voted on in August 2023. Each town board of selectmen reviewed the recommendation. At this time, GPCOG had applied for planning funds on behalf of the collab group, and we were awarded a $50,000 grant, $10,000 to go to each community to do more outreach and planning. So the decision from here was to go and get approval from each select board, sort of present the decision that was made, the reasons that decision was made, and ask if each community was okay with spending those funds to do some outreach around the recommended model. So we met with each of the select boards of those 5 towns, presented the recommendation, gained approval from each of those towns to move forward with the planning process. The Naples Board of Selectmen were presented to in September 2023. They committed to releasing those planning funds to Sebago Fiber to do more outreach and engagement around the recommended model. And they also issued a letter of support for the grant that Sebago Fiber applied to with the town of Sebago. So the town of Sebago and parts of Naples were involved in that grant. They received a grant because the state is really prioritizing areas that have the highest amount of unserved homes. And out of all the collab towns, Sebago had the highest percentage of unserved households. But there was a section of Naples that was included in that grant as well. Throughout this whole process, since forming in 2021, the collab steering committee has met bi-weekly. So for the past over 4 years, the group has continued to meet bi-weekly and sort of figure out, come into a solution as a group and adapt to changing funding sources and ideas. So the last slide that I have goes into a little more detail about the model that the steering committee chose. So the steering committee chose Sebago Fiber, the private ISP with municipal partner. And the reason that they chose that is because, for a number of reasons, one of those reasons is that the ISP would be financially responsible for the network and for improving the network, but for the fiber to the home network, but the town would be able to own the network that connects municipal buildings. So that was a big part of the decision. Sebago Fiber was also willing to sign a service level MOU that would provide visibility, influence, and guarantees around service performance and network performance. So that was something that we weren't hearing from other internet service providers, and a lot of members of the steering committee wanted to see service level agreements because they had had internet service providers come in, claim they were going to provide some level of service and not actually provide that, and they had no way to hold those internet service providers accountable. So this would actually allow the town to sort of be a partner in this deal instead of having internet service providers come in and build out wherever they see fit. You would be more of a partner in that process. They also liked that it was a fiber network, so a future-proof network that offers high speeds. Upload and download speeds are both symmetrical. Basically, you get the same speed for upload and download. Download speed is how you get things off the internet onto your device. Upload is how you put things out onto the internet. Zoom and all of those video conferencing software uses a lot of upload. So the community members really wanted to see a fiber network that would deliver the same upload as download speeds. It's a local Maine-based company focused in the Sebago Lake area. The steering committee members really liked that there would be people on the ground in each of their communities that would be offering that customer support. And they were willing to have sort of regular broadband committee meetings with each of the towns, select boards sort of being involved in that process. And then the other benefit was that it was a phased build out, so more affordable. The other internet service providers that responded for the private build out were asking for a big upfront cost from the communities. And so this way, the community could contribute some funding to get the municipal network that would become an asset for the town, and then the internet service provider would continue to build out to the rest of the community on their own dollar based on demand. So those are all the slides I have, but if anyone has any questions, I don't know if you want to hear next.
Any questions from the board?
I have questions. Does anyone else want to start?
Go right ahead, Samantha.
Just so I am clear, your responsibilities are to the Naples residents to make sure that the Naples residents get the best programs, correct?
Yes.
So from September 2022 to Sebago Fiber being a decision of August of 2023, how many different programs did you look at? How many different programs and plans of different?
How many different of the proposals that we got for the request for proposal?
Yeah, how many additional ones did you look at after the responses?
We interviewed every single internet service provider that responded.
For the responses that came in? Your responses were due in September of 2022.
Yeah,
You chose Sebago Fiber in 2023, August of 2023.
yeah.
So between September 2022 and August of 2023, you looked at everybody in the responses, but you didn't run new responses. You didn't look at any other additional fiber companies.
No, so we
So then you came here in September 2023 to the town in Naples, and you presented for Sebago Fiber.
yes.
So between September of 2023 to present, how many additional fiber companies have you looked at or updated to see what their rates were, to see what the contracts were, to see what it would be like to run different fiber companies here in Naples?
The steering committee has not expressed interest in
So that's
looking at
3
other options,
years.
but
That's 3 years. Things change a lot in 3 years. Have you talked to Bridgeton?
I've worked with Bridgeton.
Do you know what Fidium is doing right now in Bridgeton?
Fidium built out, so back when we did the interviews before we did the
Now,
request
do you know
for
what
proposal
Bridgeton is doing
process.
now? Not back then, because
I know
that's
that they built
back
out
in
a section.
2022.
I know that they built out a section of Bridgeton back in 2023. But they were deciding to build out in Bridgeton. They had no plans to build out in any of these communities.
Do you know what they're paying in Bridgeton for Fidium fiber? Which is
What
a
who's
high-speed
paying?
fiber internet. Do you know what the town of Bridgeton is paying to put in Fidium fiber internet? Nothing.
But do you know that they would come and do that in Naples? Because when
Do
we
you
put
know
out
that?
the request for
Do
proposal.
you know that? Isn't that what you're supposed to be doing? Isn't what this whole thing is? Isn't that what this whole committee is supposed to be putting together? Supposed to be looking at everybody and making sure that what's going into Naples is supposed to be the most cost-effective for the Naples residents? And we're supposed to be getting the very best? Isn't that what all of this is? So for the last 5 years, we have only been going with Sebago Fiber.
That's not true.
That's not true.
The last 5
You
years.
just told, am I off on years? 22, 23, 24, sorry, for the last 3 years, we have not spoken with anybody else. We have not updated anybody else. We have not run any additional plans. We have not seen what anyone else has out there. We don't know if there's new companies. We don't know if they're expanding themselves. Fidium is now in Bridgeton. They're also gonna be now in Wyndham. They're literally on either side of us, but you know who else is between us? This guy. We're paying $220 for a little stretch right here. Do you know how much it's gonna cost for the Naples residents to connect if we go with them?
The cost of
Individually?
subscription?
No, to connect. If I wanna connect Sebago Fiber to my house for the internet, do you know what it's gonna cost me
The
to
installation
connect?
cost?
Yes. $200. And then my monthly fee. Do you know what their monthly starts at?
I believe it's 75.
Do you know what Fidium starts at? 30. And that's not 30 if you qualify. It's 30. Do you know how much it is for their 1 gig? 50. Do you know what their 2 gig is? 75. They start at 75.
Is that continuous or do they up? I
That's
think
their
they up
1
the
year.
price after the
That's their
first
1 year. Do you know how much it is for a seasonal to turn on and off here in Naples, their program? Do you have any idea? $500 to turn it on and off. They're better off just leaving it on. You don't have any of this information, but your responsibility is to the town of Naples residents to make sure we are getting the very best here in the town of Naples. Does it sound like they're the very best right now with the information that I'm giving you over the last 3 years that we've been putting this together? Zero. The town is paying zero for them to go in there and run fiber. Now it's taking longer. They are not throughout that town right now. It's taking longer for them to put it in. But the town of Bridgeton is paying absolutely nothing, not 1 penny, to be putting fiber through their town, the entire town. Now, they haven't worked out a deal with the town hall yet to see if they could hook up for something different. It's gonna take us 10 years to get to be saving us anything by hooking up with them. We're paying 10 years up front to get 1 modem so that our maintenance department down the road can print up here because we're all gonna be connected underneath 1 modem. 10 years. I just had to replace my modem at my house after 6 because I'm not even compatible anymore. And then they're saying, oh, but you're gonna own it. Which means if anything goes wrong after 20 years, which he told me that he was gonna take care of in 20 years, but now I'm hearing it's maybe not 20 years, that maybe it's half and half if something goes wrong on those lines, that if anything else goes wrong, we have to pay for it. You know what happens if something goes wrong on the Fidium lines in Bridgeton? They fix it, 100% of the time.
I was gonna do, yeah, they have a lot of information. Yeah.
She had a question.
They don't seem like that's what's best for this town. And I'm a little disappointed that since 2022, no one's been looking at anything different other than them. If the responsibility is to the town of residents, we should have been updating along the way to make sure that they were still the very best in this town. If that's what we're paying for, that's what we need to make sure is happening.
That's a GP cog, should have been doing that, not directing it at you. It's the
I
committee.
mean, the company
The
you
overall
work for,
committee.
not you
And
personally.
maybe at the time, when Fidium made their presentation, they weren't as aggressive as they were now to get in the communities. that's how you have to. But, okay. Any other questions, real quick, for Clara?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you, Clara, appreciate it. Andrew, you want to make a,
I'm going to introduce, thank you for the time. I'm going to introduce Brandy Shido, who's our Director of Community Relations and Marketing, and she can talk to you and address all of those points.
thank you.
Yes. Thanks for allowing us time to come back and talk with you. I do appreciate it. So I just want to make sure that everyone is clear when we're talking about bringing fiber to the community. We're talking about two types of fiber. The first one is addressing the statement of how Naples in general can connect your town buildings to improve reliability, efficiency, security, and lower operating costs over time. Jason, I might want to speak to that later. But we have talked with your IT department, with the committee over time, and so this is the proposal for municipal fiber, which is fiber that connects your town buildings to improve all of those things. So we have proposed this program. It's 4.6 miles of municipal fiber that you would essentially own this irrevocable right of use. You can operate it however you wish. You do not have to choose Sebago Fiber to operate that network. You can choose any other service provider, so you can shop around for costs to operate that. And you can light it up yourself, or you can choose Sebago Fiber, but it's an asset that you would own. If something goes wrong and something breaks, then it is our responsibility to fix it. So this is why it's a partnership. It does provide service to all of your different town buildings with essentially, as Ms. Hayes was saying, one service. You do not have to maintain many different modems throughout the community. So it really works with efficiency and security and keeping everything connected. What we're not necessarily talking about, but we are happy to address the questions around providing fiber to the home. So as a community, you are not paying, or as a town, you're not paying for us to deliver fiber to the home. We're doing that on our own private investment, but as the anchor customer in the town and you building your municipal fiber, we then can accelerate our investment in the town to bring reliable internet service to your residents and businesses. So fiber in general, much more reliable, especially when the power goes out, and high-speed symmetrical service. But you as a town are not paying us to do that piece, so that is separate. This is a bit more detailed view, thank you, of the cost that we had talked about before. Andrew, fix the slide so you can see it there.
Why is it not showing now?
Because you took it out of the presentation one, I think. So what we've done here, I'll bring it up, but what we've done here is compare what you're paying today with paying for a separate service at each individual building. So you essentially have an account for internet from single service provider, but each separate building. And then what we have proposed over here on the right is what it would look like if you bought your own municipal fiber. You would be paying one monthly rate for significantly better service. So this is the symmetrical service, it's a commercial grade service. And you would be paying an annual cost of $9,600 versus the $21,000 and change annual cost that you are paying now. For significantly better service. So this is not necessarily an apples to apples comparison. The column in the middle is an example of if you chose to go out and purchase the type of service that we're proposing with municipal fiber from another service provider. And we got these rates from the rates that we could potentially get if we were to go out and buy this type of EDIA circuit. So this center column is a comparison of the commercial cost of what we are proposing on the right. So that cost could be as high as $50,000 annually. Yes, for the Sebago Fiber project and having the municipal fiber, there is an upfront capital expenditure, which could be covered by your TIF funds and your unassigned funds. And over time, your 20-year cost and your 40-year cost saves the town. Your 20-year cost, you're about break even, and your 40-year cost, you're saving a significant amount of money for significantly better service.
Okay, wait a minute. First of all, I thought we were paying the $220,000 and then we weren't gonna be paying any monthly for 10 years. I thought we were in the clear, we weren't paying anything else.
You don't have to. If you guys choose to light up the service yourself, if you have your IT department do that, then that's fine. This is if you chose to pay Sebago Fiber to connect the service for you
To the internet.
to
So
the
we're
internet.
paying to put this in, and then we have to pay additional for the actual internet? So we're not saving.
They're two separate things.
Anything.
Well, yes, we are. Let me
No, we're
clarify
not.
something. Can I clarify the technical piece? It's one thing I want to do. There's two different things, connecting the buildings and providing internet. Today, you pay for internet at every location. The column on the right, the one charge there, the $800, is to provide the town one connection to the internet. You can buy it from us, you can buy it from Consolidated, completely separate, not contractually obligated. But you need to connect the town facilities to the internet somehow. The thing you're saving the money is on the cost between the buildings by going to a single provider.
Then why wouldn't we just go with Fidium, who's running it for nothing, and then
showed-
just go with Fidium,
The column in the middle is,
which are not right numbers?
Let me look
You
at
don't
it.
even know what they're
Can I-
charging.
can I finish speaking, ma'am?
Speak, Sam.
The column in the middle is pricing from Consolidated Communications for carrier class pricing, the pricing I get today, buying the exact services that would be equivalent to what you're asking for. Buying 1 gigabit ports to your buildings, buying 5 gig between the buildings. It's exactly the requirements your IT director gave us, using Consolidated's pricings that I could buy today. It is significantly more expensive to pay for lit services because you're paying on an operating basis every month to connect those buildings. So that's the difference. The apples to apples comparison is the Consolidated lit, or you could ask First Light or another provider to do that, versus do you want to own the asset and only pay to connect your internet once with whoever you want. You can shop it around. So that's the trade-off you decide. Do you want to be paying a monthly service for all your buildings for the next 40 years, or do you want to have the option to own the asset, connecting the buildings, and then be able to choose who you buy your internet from? I'll let Brandon continue.
So the other thing that this chart does not take into account is price increases over time. I think anybody in this room knows that everybody's internet cost goes up over time pretty significantly. Our goal is to maintain stable pricing. So this is at today's price, but prices are going to go up over time. Your town will have some protection built in for your connection. And buying all these services separately does not give you that efficiency. It's a big security risk. Each one of those modems is a separate security point that somebody else could enter. So having one network, connect your town buildings for backups, information security, and everything else is a huge advantage to the town. So it would be your choice as to who you get to provide that internet service to once you own that.
Hang on one second, Brandy. Yes, Jim?
So I just want to make sure I understand. The 200 some odd $1,000 that we
Yes.
pay, the payback for that, the break even is 20 years. And that's the town piece of it. Is that correct? So it's going to take 20 years just to break even.
It does reduce your monthly budget significantly.
Right, but it's going to take 20 years to break even on that 200+ thousand investment.
Compared to the current levels of service that you have with the cable modems and all the buildings, if you compare it to the level of service that increase, your speeds at all your buildings are going from cable modem 300/20 to a gig symmetric or 10 gig symmetric, whatever you choose to
Yeah, I
land.
understand it's
Big
faster.
difference. So
But
yes,
I'm just
20
talking-
years
I'm
compared
just
to
talking
the
about the
current
dollar
pay.
amount.
Yes.
Now, secondly, the consumer is going to pay a lot more through your company than.
We'll cover that.
Okay, that's coming next.
I'm more than happy to
Okay.
address that.
Yep.
Would you like me to
Please.
give
No,
the
keep
example?
going, I just
Okay,
wanted to make sure I
right.
understood this.
I do just want to, Bridgeton was brought up. I want to give a visual of what's happened in Bridgeton. We are aware that Fidium has come to Bridgeton. As of right now, they cover 48% of the town. And the town of Bridgeton, to our knowledge, is not receiving free services from Fidium. Just to give you a visual, all these little dots in the yellow are locations in the town of Bridgeton where somebody might need internet. And Fidium is covering just that highlighted yellow portion. So they've pulled out the downtown area and the highest density neighborhoods and the ski resort. And that's all they're covering. They've left out all of the more rural areas, more spread out areas, and the majority of the residences in town. Sebago Fiber does not work that way. So this is what Bridgeton looks like today. I don't know Fidium's plans, but to our knowledge and what we've been able to find out from talking to other residents is they're not currently expanding anywhere else in Bridgeton at this time.
That's not true. They are expanding. You can get signed up. They are going out. They're still signing people up. They're still expanding. They're just moving slow because they're doing it at their own pace.
This weekend, we did a survey of about 25 addresses in town. The addresses in yellow, if she goes back, are the ones you can currently sign for service. The addresses in the rest, they collect your contact information, say you're a VIP. They've been doing that in some areas for about a year and a half and have not expanded. And we can go into detail as to how we understand that.
When you get enough people on a road and you declare it as important enough to go up there or more cost effective for you to go up a road, then you'll be going up a road.
That's our model. So
it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same.
So let's take a look at some of your other points, ma'am.
You can sit there and make it sound like you guys are the best of the best, but you're actually doing exactly what they're doing. You're just upset that you're getting called out for it.
We're not getting called out for anything.
No, that's exactly what's happening right now. I'm actually telling the truth of what's happening here. You just don't like it.
Okay, Sam, we'll continue on with the presentation, please.
Thank you. I do want to just discuss pricing for residential customers, since that was brought up as a question. We post our pricing on our website. On the page, you don't have to put in an address, you don't have to give us any information. Our pricing is published online all the time. We want to be transparent, and we don't do introductory rates that are going to increase steeply in a year. The price is the price that you see, that's the price that you pay. We don't have any other hidden fees. All of the broadband labels that we're required to place are right there that you can click on, and our Wi-Fi router is included in your service at no additional cost. We want to provide a choice for customers. So if folks are happy with what they have, if they have a good service, it works for them, great. If somebody needs higher level of service, wants to work with a local company, have reliability from fiber, we want to provide a choice for residents. We're a local business. We are Maine-based. We don't have big investors, private equity. We're investing our own dollars. And we are putting out published service guarantees, which nobody else is willing to do. Again, that transparent pricing, visible online. And we want to make it easy for our customers to do business with. So we don't make people wait on hold forever. We're either answering the phone, we'll call you right back when it's convenient for you. And we have email responses very, very quickly. And that's just a little bit about us. We went out this weekend because the question came up and we did some research. So we pulled this from Fidium's website this weekend for Bridgeton. So you can see these are their promotional rates for a year. So it says $25 a month right there for 100 megabits per second. However, if you actually look at their broadband labels and scroll down a little bit, these are their rates after a year. So with including their router that they charge an extra $10 a month for, it's $80 a month for their 100/100 plan. It's $100 a month for 300, $125 for 1G, and $135 for 2G. So this is the ongoing cost without any price increases. So here's a comparison. For a 100/100 plan with Fidium paying for your $10 a month, they're at $80 and we're at $75. Okay? We do not offer a 300 plan. So their 1G plan, They're $125 or $100 a month. 2G, they're a little less, okay? Maybe 1% of folks want to buy a 2G plan, so that's okay. And we offer the $30 affordability plan. And that is an ongoing plan that folks can qualify for, low-income plan. If anyone is familiar with the federal Affordable Connectivity Program that was in place several years ago, that was a federally funded program for low-income folks or people who needed assistance with paying for their internet. That program provided for mandated service providers to have a $30 plan, and then the government would reimburse the internet service provider $30 a month for people who qualified. That no longer exists. So most ISPs got rid of their $30 plans. We chose to keep that $30 plan, and so we have partnered with GPCOG. GPCOG does the qualification process for that, and we still provide a $30 plan for people who qualify for that based on income or meeting other requirements for benefits programs that they use. So we cannot find any information about Fidium offering that sort of plan.
What's your connection fee again, 200? Oh,
I'm going to answer that question right now. You're getting ahead of me.
They may waive it.
So Fidium's list $199 connection fee right on their broadband label. Their marketing materials all say free installation, but it is on their broadband label that they can charge $199 for it. And then they put up there that they will waive it if applicable. Sebago Fiber has a $199 installation fee outside of our current grant area. We may also choose to waive that fee. I will tell all of you right now, we have committed to waiving that fee for any town that is a municipal fiber customer. So if Naples is part of that municipal fiber program, you guys have purchased municipal fiber from us, there will be no installation fee for Naples residents. I will address, since it was brought up to the seasonal plan, we don't offer seasonal service. We want year-round service for our customers, and that doesn't work for everybody, and we understand that. It provides a few benefits for folks. If you are away for a certain period of time, you can use the internet that's there to use cameras, security cameras, to monitor your property. You can use smart thermostats. You can do things like that. It ensures that your internet is on and ready when you come back to town. If that's not something you want, and you want to keep a provider that offers you that seasonal disconnect, we completely understand that. But what we don't think is fair is for year-round residents to essentially subsidize the cost of internet for seasonal people. We want to maintain a steady, reasonable rate for everybody in the town, no matter who you are and how long you're here. So it's a choice. And if you don't like that choice, then you know what? If you're happy, we're happy. So we just want to provide that choice for people. And then the last thing I have here really is to point out the investment that Sebago Fiber is planning to make, and has already made in the town of Naples. We've been out, we've been talking to people. We've had the survey going for quite a while here. There's broad interest in town in Sebago Fiber. We've been out to some of the events that happen in town. We've talked to people, and people are excited. All around the Lakes region, not just in Naples, but also here. There were 23 locations in the town of Naples, 23 homes that were eligible to be part of the grant that we received for the Sebago and surrounding areas. Towns were supposed to put up a matching contribution as part of the grant. And we did not ask Naples to do that. Sebago Fiber put forth that investment on behalf of the town to cover those 23 locations. And all of those 23 locations are eligible to have Sebago Fiber installed for no installation fee as part of the grant. And I don't have the exact number of those that have signed up so far, but there have been, I think about half of them have already signed up. Excuse me. So building this 4.6 miles of fiber to connect your municipal fiber, Sebago Fiber will also build 4.6 miles to connect Naples to the town of Sebago. that's going to provide this direct, high-speed service to our upstream providers. It will be available to all the businesses along 302 in the TIF district and folks immediately surrounding that area right away. Provides ability for businesses to have reliable internet, to conduct business, accept payments, even if the power's out. If somebody wants to go out to eat when the power's out, the restaurant can still accept payments, as long as they have a generator on site. So fiber to the home is what we're investing in. We are planning in year one to provide at least coverage to at least 35% of the town. It's about 971 passings, and that's a $1.8 million investment that we are making. In year two, we'd reach about 80% of the town, and by year three, we could reach 100% of the town with our own private investment. So it's a total of $4.9 million that Sebago Fiber would invest in Naples if you guys move forward with this.
Thank you, Brandy.
So on the website, the Fidium website, 2 gigs is 75 a month, 1 gig is 55 a month, 300 is 35 a month. And yes, obviously, they're gonna go up.
That's their 1 year
What I
introductory rate.
wanna push is that no research was done after the initial response time that someone from the board had said to me that this is a investment for the town, not the residents. This is the residents' money. If we wanna do just the TIF, where the TIF isn't gonna touch our mill rate, then that's up to you guys. I think the money that's coming in the capital improvement should be taken out, or at least it should be a separate line item that the town of residents, our residents should be able to vote on. It's incredibly expensive, and they're gonna choose whether they wanna go up someone's road or not. And we don't know what the next 10 years is gonna look like. Fidium is right down the street, and it may not be as secure. How many break-ins have we had? How many security breaches have we had over our internet here in the town of Naples?
We haven't had any
Okay,
that I've been briefed on.
so that's not really a concern here. I mean, sure, it sounds great, but it's not really a concern here. So Fidium can come in here and go across the causeway and touch all of our streets for absolutely not one penny coming out of our residents' pockets. And if they want to connect to Fidium, they can. And if they want to go with Spectrum, they can. And if they want to do Dish, they can. And they don't have to spend anything extra if they choose to go with somebody else. But if we bring Sebago in here, and then they choose to go with somebody else, they still have to pay for Sebago. Because we're still charging them to come in here at $220,000 and run the line. And that doesn't seem fair to everyone else that's out here with their taxes. That's what I think. If they want to vote it in, then they can vote it in, and then I am perfectly fine with that if that's what they want to do. So I think it needs to be a separate line item, and if they vote it out, all the power to them. But if that decision, I think, needs to be left to them. And if we don't think we're gonna have enough people and we don't think it's fair, then we should just be taking it out of this budget altogether. Which is another thing, it shouldn't have even been in the budget, because no one voted for it to be in the budget. It was in the very back, and that was the only thing that got moved over, and no one voted for it to get moved over.
I mentioned in the workshop, at the end of the workshop, I said, when we went through the unfunded requests, I commented, I will bring over the TIF, because it was a TIF funded project, I'd bring the TIF and the capital improvement costs over into the budget. I mentioned that at the working group, and it was brought into the budget last week when we talked about this, and we voted, and this committee voted 6-0 to approve those budget line items.
But I also had a very specific question. I said, did the select board vote for this to be in here? And the answer was, yeah, we talked about it, they had a meeting on it on Monday.
They were briefed on it, Sebago Fiber came and presented, and they gave positive response to that, but there was no vote.
But it didn't get voted. But the answer to my question was, yeah, we talked about it on Monday, and we bypassed it through. So it wasn't actually voted on, and we didn't vote to put it in.
The select board's gonna have an opportunity to vote on it when we go into the select board meeting after this.
That's fine, but we, as the budget committee, did not vote to to put that in?
You voted last week to put it in,
No, it was in there,
and you voted.
but we didn't vote to put it in. Am I correct?
By voting on
We
it, you
voted
voted
that
to
it was
accept
there,
it
but
in
we
the
didn't
budget.
vote to put it in.
You voted to
We
accept
didn't
that
vote
budget last
for
week.
the fire. We didn't vote for the lights.
We opted not to move any of those over, that's why.
But
made
we
no-
didn't talk about
we-
actual
We
moving
know,
over
we
this.
made no discussion regarding the other items on there. We only talked about Sebago Fiber and the
We
hydrant.
didn't actually vote to move it over, correct? Do you remember actually voting to move it into the line item?
Pass.
I understand we
She-
voted on it.
Procedurally, she's right. They're both right. It's the one and only item that wasn't part of our entire budget process. It was added on at the last minute in the workshop, and it was already incorporated in the budget that we voted on. We did not vote to put it in the budget, but yes, all of us at the end of the night voted to accept the budget, but technically, she's right. It was signaled out as a separate item, and it didn't follow everything else we did over the last 3 months.
And
But
technically,
here we are now.
the board that got presented to the select board in 2023.
Yeah.
Whoever was on the select board at the time, this was presented to the select board in 2023. So I want to make sure that's out there. And I understand what you're saying, but my feeling is, there's no group that'll do research to find one group to do an investment and then keep that search moving on. I mean, the goal is with anything, I think, that you do a group, a building, or internet, or cable, you make your initial RIP for it, whoever turns it in, that's who you go for. I mean, yes, it stinks it's taken so long to come to the town of Naples, whether we voted on it or not, but I don't think any committee, I've never heard of, always going back to see, is this the right choice still? Is this the right choice? And why FIDIM at the time didn't make that presentation, or maybe they did, but it wasn't as lucrative, where GP Cog Group thought it was the best avenue for the towns? That's a good question, Sam, because I don't know. I mean, Jason wasn't part of the representation from the town of Naples that sat in at that time? No, you weren't, because you weren't here yet at the time. So that'd be John Hawley or the interim town manager we had at the time on why. So, I mean, those are great questions. I don't have that answer.
Yeah,
Okay.
The biggest thing that Sebago Fiber could offer that the other ones couldn't during the RFP process was a dark fiber network connecting municipal buildings. That's what they couldn't offer. And
that's-
it's more than just being able to print from building to building or share files. It allows centralized distribution of any patches that come out, security patches for the network, mandatory security patches put out by various software programs that we have. It allows centralized control for our IT manager to access all the computers from a single point. Right now, the computers over in the maintenance building are not connected to the town network. The fire department's not connected to the town network. And again, it's not just about printing, it's about having remote access to all systems.
Understand. So the question is, as a budget committee, we should have talked about, do we want this a separate line item moving forward for the taxpayers to approve versus putting it into where it was on the TIF fund, TIF funded project and the cap group. I mean, that's how I understand the whole conversation, where we're going. Any comment, Colin?
You go.
No, I'm okay. Conversation seems to be evolving well.
Well, I think before you can even consider separating the question,
Well,
the first thing you have to do is somebody's gonna make a motion to rescind the budget that we have before us and
Well,
take this out.
to rescind the vote
Right,
based from last Wednesday
right.
to take the 200 and
The two line items.
the two line items, 250,000 out of the TIF and your capital reserve.
So you'd have to,
I think it
you'd
was
have to
one-
rescind the vote for capital improvements and rescind the vote for TIF projects, because that's where those two, budget line items resided. And if that vote passed, then you'd have to make a motion for another vote to introduce the Sebago Fiber as a separate budgetary line item and vote on that.
Correct.
And if the committee decides to go that route, I have documents that, you can vote on.
Okay.
Make a motion to rescind the capital improvement and the TIF budget from last,
Gonna be two separate motions,
2 separate motions?
She-
one at a time.
What a pain.
One at a time, yep.
All right, hold on. Capital improvement, you said, right?
Capital
Capital
improvements,
improvement
250,000.
project, is that what it's actually called?
Yes, yeah.
Make a motion to rescind the capital improvement project.
What's the amount, 64? What's the
Well, you'd have to rescind
The entire thing, so what, is it
Yep.
103, 160?
you'd have to rescind the entire vote, then you'd have to vote on the budget again with that item not being in there.
Is that right? Am I looking at the right budget on there?
Right here.
Is it 103, 160, Jason?
Without the capital improvements, so
First, I'm just rescinding it,
Yes,
so is that
it's
the right number?
103, 160.
Yes.
All right, so make a motion to rescind capital improvement at 103, 160.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay. Steve Merkel,
Aye.
Steve Hoyt,
Aye.
Colin Brackett,
No via Zoom.
Samantha Hayes,
Aye.
Jim Gratello,
No.
and I'm no also.
Now what?
So that's 3-3.
Tie the winner.
So by default, it fails.
It fails. Yeah,
So for capital improvement stays in, now you have to do the next vote for.
for TIF-funded projects.
Well,
And that'd be 19, no. That'd be, so that amount in there, you don't have it on your form here, Jason. So TIF-funded is 10, it wasn't quite 250.
So the entire.
239, 832.
239,
832.
make a motion to rescind TIF at whatever it was, number, 109, 832?
239, 832.
239, 832.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion over that? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote. Colin Brackett,
No via Zoom.
Steve Merkel,
Aye.
Steve Hoyt,
Aye.
Jim Gratello,
No.
Samantha Hayes.
Aye.
I'm no also. Bob Karen, no. So that's
3-3.
3-3, so that fails to move forward.
I have no problem separating this.
Then why are you
What's
voting no?
No, I don't agree. I have no problem separating the question for the town meeting if you want to let the town meeting people vote on it separately.
That's what we were just,
No, you were voting to rescind it, to take it out of the budget.
no, you said we had to rescind it to get it to a separate line item.
No,
That's
you have
what you
to,
said.
no. We can separate that item as a separate vote if we want to. I'm not in agreement, I'm not in agreement with you. I appreciate your presentation and everything.
Jim, he told me I had to rescind it, and then that had to pass, and then I had to vote it as a separate line item, and then he said he had the documents to vote it
No,
as
we
whole,
can
as a
separate, we can
separate
take
line.
any item.
Is that not what you just said?
No.
That is what I said.
That's what he
Okay, but that's
said.
not true. You can take any item in this budget and put it to vote on separately at a town meeting. They've done it in the past. They've taken certain projects,
As long as the select board.
as long as the select board votes to
on it,
separate a
line.
specific project, they can separate that on the town warrant for a town meeting.
So
Why
there were
wouldn't you
two,
just do
there were,
that?
Okay, hang on 1 second, please.
Oh, because
Go ahead, Jay.
there are two ways to go at this. We could
Right.
vote to remove or rescind those two budget items, okay? And then what we could have done, if the vote passed to rescind those budget items, then we could have had another vote to introduce as a separate budget item, and put in the amounts associated with the municipal fiber install. Then it would have appeared as a separate, there would have been dollars associated with that warrant article. With what has just happened, I can still put it on the warrant saying, does the town choose to invest in municipal fiber? If that fails, then those two budget line items, I could not spend the money on them.
Correct.
And I would have to strike those out of the budget.
correct, that's the way it should go. So you still get to have the town people vote on it, but it's in the budget.
It's a mathematical equivalent.
Right. That's the way the select board has done it in the past. If they had a
Then how
specific
do-
item in the budget that they felt was sensitive or controversial, They separated it and did it as a separate line item.
So then how do we vote to make sure we have a warrant that, or an
The select
article that
board,
says
the
that?
We're
select
gonna be
board,
doing that the next meeting,
the next meeting.
this next meeting.
If the select board chooses to put it on the warrant that
It's-
way,
We have no authority to
It's their choice.
separate an item on a budget. The budget committee has no authority. No, we have no authority. We can say all we want, we have no authority. They have to set the warrant. We can vote, we take our vote when they set the warrant, the budget committee weighs in, and it shows up on the ballot.
3-2, 3-3,
Right,
whatever the budget
But we have
is.
no right to, the budget committee has no right to set a warrant article, only the select board can.
Any other discussion from this board?
Entertain,
Entertain a
motion
motion
to-
at 6:26 to adjourn for select board meeting?
so moved.
Motion made, second? All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call vote, sorry. That passes, sorry. Thanks, Colin.